So Beyblade Burst is the third generation of the Beyblade industry, and is actually the gen that I grew up on. And I know what you're saying. What? He didn't grow up on the metal gen. Bro is not an OG, shut the fuck up, I don't care. Yes, I grew up on the Burst gen, and yes, the Burst gen introduced me to Beyblade. Anyways, the Burst gen has always been very different from the rest of the gens. And no, it's not different cause it sucks. It's different cause unlike the other Beyblade generations, Beyblade Burst had a pretty bad fall off. So I think it's a good idea if we dive into how Beyblade Burst fell off and what caused it to fall off. So like the other Beyblade generations, Beyblade Burst started off strong. 3 back-to-back fire seasons. However, the 4th season is where disaster strikes. Let me introduce you to Beyblade Burst Rise. Now Beyblade Burst Rise is regarded as one of the worst Beyblade Burst shows ever, and for good reasons. Now I'll admit that this show is a little overhated, just a little, but most of the hate is well deserved. So let's first look at our main character, Drum. Vault clone. That's it, that's pretty much all he is. Vault clone. And not a good kind. He's loud, annoying, and has this trait where he gets close into people's faces, which is supposed to be funny, but it's really not. His bay is pretty bland too. His bay is literally called Dragon. That's it. Just Dragon. Oh, and another thing Drum likes to do. So Drum at the beginning of the series likes to switch part of his layer, making him a defense and stamina type. And my question is, what the hell is the point of doing this? Just use a balance type. Anyways, let's move on to the side characters. Yeah, not gonna lie, the side characters are pretty shit. Lodin, shit. Delta, shit. Fumia. Okay, I know I might get hate for this, but I actually like Fumia. Just his personality though. He's so dog shit as a blader, which actually leads into a huge problem in Rise. Why in the hell would you make Fumia and Lodin users of Fafnir and Luina? Whoever thought this shit was a good idea should be banged from ever having a job again. Cause why would you take the bays of the most iconic Beyblade characters ever and give them to these two chuckle fucks? I know I said I liked Fumia, but he's a disgrace to the Fafnir name. Lodin just got packed up by Drum and never returned again. I feel like these characters would be better if they weren't the second users of these iconic bays. Anyways, onto Delta. I have never cared less for a side character. I don't know what it is about him, but I legit just don't care for and don't like him. Maybe cause he feels like an Echelord, but I don't know. At least he's the only one in the Risen 3 that feels strong. Speaking of which, the Risen 3, these are the shittiest top bladers I've ever seen. Let me explain. Each season from the first Beyblade Burst to Rise has the highest ranking bladers in the world, or something like that. The first season had the Spin Emperors, Evolution had the Big 5, Turbo had the Turbo 4, and Rise has the Risen 3. And out of all of these, the Spin Emperors are the only ones I fully like. Every one of the Spin Emperors are cool, strong, and took Vault everything to beat. In fact, he didn't even beat 2 of them, and the way they introduced them was perfect. Frozen 3 is hot dog shit. First up, why only 3 bladers? 5 was the perfect amount of bladers, then they just decreased to every season. Blind legit has no wins. A Risen 3 member has no wins. Wow, that's worse than freaking Renwu. Pang was pretty underwhelming too, and it sucks cause he has one of the most broken gimmicks in Beyblade Burst. Actually, that leads into a good thing I wanna talk about in this show. Rise had easily the best gimmicks in all of Burst, and they went beyond for this. Let me give you some examples. Pegasus ability makes it so that if you don't one-shot Pegasus, you can't burst it. See, even Pegasus ability is that it has these 2 wings. These wings are connected to its layer, so if you hit the wings, you would reset the amount of clicks it has, making it damn near impossible to burst. You know what's even better? Peng demonstrates this perfectly in his battle against Delta. Throughout the battle, Peng is just spamming reverse heal, and it kinda works. And while Delta still wins, this battle still proves how OP Pegasus ability is. Or how about Fafnir, who can not only absorb energy from his layer, but also his disc, and he can absorb both kinds of rotation from his disc. Or how about Genesis and Apocalypse ability, which also make them pretty much unburstable. And I know what you're thinking, but they got bursted multiple times. Well yeah, but lock it, and think about how OP ability this is. You can't burst it by normal means, and the only way to burst it is by attacking its strongest point. So it's either you burst it, or you get burst. And it's even more OP with the Big Bang armor. But yeah, you get my point. On to my next thing about Beyblade Burst Rise. Now Gwen is a good villain, but Author is straight garbage. He's not interesting at all, and they just needed someone to beat Aja, which actually kinda makes me hate him more. Like there's no way this lame piece of shit beat our goat. Anyways, I think that's all for Beyblade Burst Rise. On to our next series. Now I know a lot of you are expecting me to shit on sparking, but to be honest, It's one of my most favorite Beyblade series ever. Now don't get me wrong. This show definitely has a good amount of cons. Hyuga and Hikaru aren't really the best main characters. Hiller is better than Drum, but Hyuga and Drum are just the same people. Annoying. Lane is stupidly OP. Like I'm okay with him beating the legends. But they could done it better on how he beat them. I feel like Leeshold slowly got stronger until he was eventually OP. Not just start out OP as hell and just packed up everyone. Now the whole flare thing. Look, I'm not gonna hate on it, because at least they're giving the villain another motive for why they're evil. And not just another generic evil villain that goes, oh, I'm gonna destroy all base and rule the Beyblade world, or some shit like that. That only works with Phi. Now, onto the pros of this show. The writers did a great job of making the twins feel like rookies. They get packed up a lot of the time. And you know what? That's perfect and how it should be. These guys are rookie bladers going against pros with years of experience. A good example of this is a tag team battle. Louie and Drum vs Rantaro and Hikaru. So after Rantaro gets packed up, it's up to Hikaru to carry on the battle. So Hikaru has this epic moment where his hair is on fire and he's powering up. And the show sets it up as if he's gonna have this amazing comeback. But he proceeds to get packed up by Louie, and they lose the match. I loved this moment. It was really fun seeing Hikaru get his hopes crushed, and he realizes plot armor is not on his side. Now don't get me wrong. They definitely have their plot armor moments. For example, the time Hyuga won this battle royal. Now it's not the fact that he won, is why I'm saying he has plot armor in this moment. It's the way he won that made no sense. How in the hell are you gonna tell me Hyuga won this free for all? In a battle of stamina. He won in a battle of stamina, against a Beyblade, who can literally steal stamina, and against another stamina type. Wow, that's probably the worst way he could have won. Anyways, probably the strongest factor in this show, is the side characters. Everyone, is back. And they brought back freaking Silas, and not for a short cameo, he is actually part of the cast. Man, I was so happy seeing him. Enough of my fangirling. A strong factor of this show, is that it has the best battles and animations. Now no matter how much you hate this show, you gotta admit this show has the best Beyblade animation of all time. And that isn't up for debate. Now that's all there is for Beyblade Burst Sparking. On to the next anime. Beyblade Burst Bar Drive. Wow. This is the first time ever I've actually been bored watching Beyblade. This is the first time I was truly not interested in a Beyblade anime. That's how bad it is. Now where do I even start? How about the side characters? This is the shittiest and most garbage piece of side characters I've ever seen. It's worse than Rise. It's that bad. Ranzo is legit the worst of the Kiyama line. Seeing like Rantaro and Ranjiro. Ranzo has no epic moments, no development, no nothing. He learns no new moves, doesn't grow. He is legit a designed punching bag. Seriously, he is only created to be a punching bag. That's his purpose. See, Rantaro and Ranjiro are at least supposed to be serious bladers. It's just they are outclassed by everyone, but the writers at least try to give them something, even if it's small. For example, Rantaro gets his get back against his clone, and at least Ranjiro learns a new move. Ranzo doesn't get shit. Man, it doesn't end here. You thought these guys got nerfed in Sparking? Man, you should see them in Bar Drive. Free gets beat in such an anticlimactic way. In the Evolution and Turbo he had to get beat in some epic way. In Quad Drive he gets beat in such a disappointing way. Lowie gets beat in the second episode of the show. The second fucking episode. That's even worse than how they massacred him in Turbo. He gets beat again later in the show. And once again. It's so anticlimactic. But probably the worst of them all is how Bell beat Shu in their first and only battle. Bell and Shu only had one battle, and Bell won. What kinda mega plot armor is this? I can't. I just can't. I haven't even got done with the other side characters. Mainly cause I don't give a shit about them. Well, except Basara and Vault Point, I also don't really care for this cat girl. I'm too lazy to look up her name. I don't know. But she just feels weird. Like, what's the point of including her in the story? I actually kinda like Basara, mainly cause he actually gets some development. Unlike a certain piece of shit. However, I hate how he's the third holder of Borkish, and he also became a Rashad Glazer. Speaking of Rashad, this is probably the second worst Beyblade villain ever, behind Order. I mean, his Bay is pretty decent, but him as a character I didn't like. He started out as a Vault Glazer, literally copying his Bay and everything, and man was that annoying. Another thing, the final battle was pretty weak, and definitely the worst final battle ever. Anyways, let's at least look at the good in this show. Yes, there is some good in this show. I like the dynamic between Bell and Belial, and how they have a more comedic relationship other than a serious one. It's something new, and I loved it. And not only that, but it shows how close Bell and his bae are. Now, another good factor of this show. Pain was a pretty nice addition, but he just got introduced way too late. And also got beat way too soon. You can tell they just needed something to get the show to its 51 episode mark. Sigh. Anyways, that's about all the good this show has. Anyways, I haven't finished watch the last Beyblade show. Beyblade Burst Quad Strike. But so far it's decent. So maybe Quad Strike will be better. But, that's all I got for Beyblade Burst. Overall it had a pretty bad fall off, but it's still fire. If I've missed any points, or you'd like to give your opinion, let me know in the comments. But that is all I have for today. See you in the next video. You have no lives.